Welcome to the last video of the RedPillAfrica video series, video number 12. In today's video, I'll be discussing the last idea in the EDISAC framework, the idea of civilizational existence, or rather, the realities and constraints of us Africans living in the modern civilization. Without wasting time, let's get started. While the first 5 ideas in EDISAC are about individual effort, this last idea is all about how the individual interacts with the society or the collective. After you've articulated your found knowledge in written form, it is imperative that you then go out and engage your society or community. Otherwise, it's a waste of time getting knowledge. By modern civilization, I mean the beliefs, knowledge, and behaviors that are not ancient, but rather that are suited for the modern time. For example, believing that women and men are equal, or the knowledge that the earth is round and goes around the sun, are all beliefs within the modern civilization. The first proposition about modern African civilizational existence is for us to transition our traditions from oral to written form. It is not enough that we tell our traditional stories and knowledge orally, or we write them in foreign scripts, especially Arabic and Latin alphabets. Apart from a few Africans like the Eritreans and Ethiopians who use the Ge'ez writing scripts, most of us modern Africans were introduced to writing by the Arabs and Europeans. However, every civilization has its own writing system and script. That's in my heart of hearts, I believe that we modern Africans must engage on a project to integrate our tribes and oral stories in a form of writing project that can lead to a writing system that we can call our own. It can be done. We have all witnessed simple projects like Hollywood movies which go about creating a brand new language and a brand new script just for entertainment purposes. In the same vein, we can come together and create a writing system that integrates our oral stories so that at some point in the future, our grandparents can read to grandkids our own stories in our own system. The second proposition about modern African existence is that we must create our own knowledge tower. In the writing about EDISAC, I mentioned that the ancestral error is that we modern Africans did not inherit a knowledge tower from our tribal ancestors. A knowledge tower is the written down cumulative collective knowledge that a group of people create, and over time, generation upon generation of people learn from it, reference it, and identify with the written knowledge. The Western knowledge tower is founded on the Greek and Latin writing alphabets and foundational texts such as the Odyssey and the Iliad. Other civilizations, the Chinese or the Indian, have their own unique knowledge towers that are based on unique writing systems and unique foundational texts. Even the latest civilization, which is the Islamic one, has its own unique knowledge tower that is based on the Arabic alphabet and foundational texts such as the Sirah, the Hadith collections, and the Quran. For us Africans, we have no choice. We need to find a way to create our own knowledge tower. In my writing, I presented 2 graphs that show the difference and the advantage between a people with a knowledge tower compared to a tribal people who don't have a knowledge tower. The 3 advantages are: 1, a people with a knowledge tower will have more knowledge growth over time compared to tribal people. The second advantage is that people with a knowledge tower over generation retain more knowledge as a quantity compared to people who are tribal. The third advantage is that people with a knowledge tower will pass on more knowledge from one generation to the next generation is in comparison to tribal people. So as Africans, we have no choice. We need to have our own knowledge tower. The third proposition about modern African existence is that we must come up with a model African nation that is post-colonial, post-tribal in nature, and is an inspiration to the rest of the continent. I've read most of the African constitutions just to sense the model of nationhood around the continent, and I've also read many books such as What is Africa's Problem by the current Ugandan president. And from all this, I know that it's not clear that we Africans have a model sense of nationhood that everyone can copy from. And actually, it's also very clear that we merely inherited colonial projects called countries, and we have failed to run them efficiently or use them to go beyond tribal differences. So it is in my humble opinion that I've come to a conclusion that nations as they are constituted now, which are pretty much colonial countries, are not the way forward for Africa. We must use our brains and imagination to create a new sense of African nationhood that can inspire any African, whether on the continent or outside, to feel that they can migrate to that country and be full citizens. This would be similar to how, in the current world, any Jew can migrate to the state of Israel and automatically would be considered a citizen. As a modern African who can read, what have you done to contribute towards defining the civilizational existence in the modern era? This is important because currently the Americans, the Europeans, and lately the Chinese are all pulling us left and right, and guess what? We are losing. We Africans must wake up, get up, and do some work. The work is what I defined as EDISAC. The first thing is error from past ancestors. We need to know what went wrong. The second is dominant identity. Why is it that the foreign heritages dominate us in Africa? The third element is that in order to go beyond these problems, we have to first individuate. We have to be autonomous individuals. The fourth step is that as autonomous individuals, we shall go out seeking on journeys of exploration. The fifth step is that it's at the end of the journeys of exploration that we shall then articulate our newfound knowledge. And the sixth step is that after articulation, we shall have debate in the public square, and the result is a consensus on a civilizational existence for us in the modern era. This is it. This is the end of the Red Pill Africa series. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you've watched all 12 videos, and thank you for sharing within your network. For those who are new, I hope you support by subscribing to the channel, like the videos, and keep sharing within your network. And now, let the conversations start.